This is City Lights Shy. I'm your host, Jamison McDermott, and tonight we are at the NAPS series screening, and we are here with Regina Hoyles.
Hello.
You are the creator of the show, the writer of the show, executive producer, director, casting director, lead actress. How did you wear so many hats?
It's a lot. You definitely need a team because I have to delegate so many different responsibilities or else I would faint. My co-executive producer who is here with me tonight definitely ensured I didn't die. Thanks so much. But it's really a matter of knowing who's able to do what on your team, not putting yourself into so much that you can't function at all. But I feel like it was definitely a lesson of balance and I've mastered it pretty well so far. So yeah, I'm still alive, so thank you.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. You're thriving.
Thank you. Thank you.
So can you start by telling us a little bit about what NAPS is?
Yes, for sure. It pretty much started with just a simple idea of me lying in bed and I was just like, wow, what if there was a television series where every single episode was named after something in the black hair care community, but it wasn't solely about black hair. It also mimicked whatever the main character was going through in life. And so it just budded from that idea maybe a year and a half ago, and I kind of just pushed it to the side. But then out of just a desire of wanting to create now as opposed to waiting on other people to give me permission, I'm like, a web series seems like a doable format, so why don't I try that out and revisit that idea. And so I wanted to depict something that showcased especially black normalcy, because I feel like we're not afforded that opportunity. So often we get the extreme, or that, the spectrum that was only violent or something like that. So I just really wanted to showcase that we are a full variety of black people, and just a normal person is just as worth a platform to be on the internet, the TV, or movies, anything. So yeah.
Absolutely, and I think what you're doing is so important because, like you said, I think the media just falsely depicts a lot of black culture and everything that has to do with it. Do you think that there is a TV show or a movie currently that actually does a good job of portraying black normalcy?
Yeah, definitely. You got to shout out Insecure. That is definitely a pioneer. Issa really has opened doors for a lot of us. Atlanta is a very specific show, but it's still not what we're used to. So that's one of my favorite ones for sure. I think that we're definitely entering another black renaissance, but I hope this time it's not a phase and that we see more and more and more of this, and more of the spectrum of blackness versus just what we're so used to seeing, what everyone else is used to seeing. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
I wish I had somebody.
Yes.
Can we pause for makeup, please?
No one can have her. She's mine. Thank you. Solely for me.
Absolutely.
Yes, we love our team. Okay.
So do you plan on actually pitching this show to networks at some point?
So that was definitely a question at the beginning. It's very funny because I had a full conversation with my attorney. She was like, so what do you want to happen? Well, no, she's
very official.
Very official. She's like, I need you to establish what you want to happen with this, Regina. I'm like, oh, okay. And so to me, it's interesting because I really love the digital format and I really do enjoy it as a web series. And I've talked to a lot of my team members, and just it as a web series is more fun. I don't know, more reachable, I feel like. So I'm not sure if I necessarily would want this to get transferred to television, as opposed to a network see this and see the team and be like, we like what you're into and what you're about, want to work with us on another possible project. So I feel like that's definitely the goal ultimately. But yeah.
Who are you trying to reach with this web series?
Everyone. I mean, I feel like people will see the title, see the characters, and be like, oh, this demographic is already set out. But I feel like it's definitely relatable to multiple people in the sense that we see a human being try to navigate life in the entertainment industry, just as a human period, sometimes getting in the way of herself and not going for the gold essentially, and not really taking a stand in what she wants to do. So I wanted to reach people just to show, make it seem like it's them on screen, and also just as far as creators, period, to see this and see the credits and be like, oh, she did this, and that. I can do this, and that. It really doesn't take as much as I feel like people make it out to be. I feel like you're also
downplaying it because the amount of work that probably actually went in to get all 6 of these.
It was definitely a lot.
I'm sure it was.
For sure, one of my biggest pieces of advice to people is get a team you trust. Establish that early on. People you can really depend on, do what they say they can do, and then just delegate as much as you can without letting your vision get fizzled away and get too skewed. Make sure you know what your vision is from the start. But it is a lot of work. It's persistence. Because once I was in it, I'm like, there's no going back. Just keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
So yes, but yeah.
Do you think you're the real life version of Maya?
I get asked that. I feel like I subconsciously, as I was writing it, was like, there's a lot of things I'm taking from my actual
life.
life.
Not to like relate your current, like everything that you've actually gone through and write it into your work.
Right, it's your truth. You got to write your truth. So I feel like I definitely pulled some pieces from it. Like I definitely, like at one of the last film festivals I was at, got asked, so do you like know these people in real life? I'm like, I went to NYU, absolutely. There's so many of them. So I feel like that kind of just happened in the writing of it, just kind of colored in the story that I already had set out, which is my experiences.
Do you think that the depiction of how you portrayed like the other students, like the white students, is pretty true at your school?
Yes.
Or do you think like in general, has it really been that much of a struggle so far trying to break into this industry?
I don't feel like it hasn't been that much of a struggle, just because I still feel like I'm getting in there as far as a writer and on this end, because I've been acting literally since I was 9. But even then, I don't really explore that side too much in the series of the acting of it. But as far as like behind the scenes, I'm noticing that like certain writers' rooms especially are predominantly male or predominantly white, and so things like that and that structure of it. But as far as like the white students in the series or the graduates, I feel like they're depicted equally as they should be in like NYU or some other college that I feel like exists. I definitely think that is a real thing, the people you see.
I feel like when I was watching, it was the first episode where it was like the meeting, it was like a networking event. I'm like, what do I feel like I could see? I've met so many of these people in this room at some different point
very
in time.
Real experience, like without like giving too much away. Definitely have so much of an experience of like walking into a room, sitting down in a class for producing, and everyone's naming all these different, movies, like bougie, unheard of, obscure movies, and I'm like, okay, but did y'all see Tyler Perry's Medea Goes to Jail? But like, no one knows what that is. Not that like we're not naming like fancy like movies or whatever, but just that reality of not being in a space where your culture is as equally valued as another culture is. So
What was your favorite episode?
To make, my favorite episode was probably episode 3. A lot of black girl magic was on.
Was this the party one?
Yes, it was. It was fun. It was the last day we actually shot. But my favorite episode, honestly, like period, is probably the one in Chicago. It probably is. And I was so happy because I had so many people tell me, oh, just shoot upstate in New York. I'm like, nope, I'm flying out. I'm flying back.
And why is it important to shoot in Chicago for you?
Because I'm just, being that this is such a first like statement piece for me, I want to ensure that a part of me is put out into the world, and I cannot ignore that part. I literally just can't. And so I wanted to have that scenery. Like, I know I respect Chicagoans from the city and the suburbs like so much, and I want to make sure that they're able to look at them and be like, oh yeah, I know this street, or I know Darling Hills.
Well, the last episode, I was like, Darling Hills, okay.
I was like, shout out to y'all.
I saw that.
Yes, it was literally a wink at where I came from, where I grew up. So
And so now that you've been in New York and you've been in Chicago, and you can kind of compare the entertainment scenes within both cities, where do you think Chicago stands?
Chicago is a very creative hub. Like, Chicago has been on the rise for a while, if it's not already like on the rise. Like, the creative hub in Chicago is strong. Like, do not doubt Chicago. Do not. Like, there's a lot coming here, and a lot to come this summer even, and next year. Like, a bunch of projects I think are in development as well. But I think the creative scene is strong as far as art and photography and acting, like theater. We have a lot. So I don't think that New York is like better. I feel like they both have their like pros and cons, but they're equally creative for sure.
Well, City Lights is all about spotlighting Chicago and creative things and creative people and what they're doing here in the city. So I love that you guys did film in Chicago and in the suburbs, because you're only continuing to shine that light here in the city. So thank you for that, and good luck with the show and everything. You're killing it.
Thank you so much for having me.